It didn't smell bad, just familiar, like old linen, pine soap, and something else. Something that held both comfort and loss. No one warns you about this. The scent of aging isn't foul. It's a whisper. And by the time we recognize it, it's already clinging to memory. Mrs. Ito first noticed it while folding towels, a faint musk wrapped around her husband's scarf, and then her own nightgown. She paused. Pine, yes. Stale tea, maybe. But underneath, a tone she couldn't name. She lifted the fabric to her cheek as if it might bring him back. It didn't. But something else arrived. The ache of realizing her scent was no longer hers alone. 2 lives, slowly metabolized into one lingering fragrance. She shut the closet door, but the scent stayed. 1. The skin's quiet sigh. No one tells you that aging has a scent. Not the scent of soap or sweat, but something quieter. Something that clings to the things you love without ever asking permission. It lives in pillowcases, in sweater collars, in the creases of chairs that have held your shape for more years than you can count. At first, you think it's the house, old air, old wood, but it follows you, into the car, onto a borrowed coat, even into your daughter's embrace when she leans in and pauses just a second too long. And suddenly, you know, it's you. Not unclean, not neglected, just changed. There's a word for it. 2 non-enol. A compound your skin begins to release as omega-7 fatty acids oxidize. It doesn't come from effort. It comes from time. You can't scrub it away. Not fully because it's not a surface thing. It's internal. Like breath. Like memory. It's not like the sweat of a long walk or the musk after a summer chore. This scent builds slowly, like dust in corners you stopped noticing. Like forgotten songs in drawers you haven't opened since they left. It doesn't announce itself. It sighs. And that's the hardest part. Because it feels less like something's wrong and more like something sacred has started to fade. But it's not decay. It's presence. A soft reminder that you're still here, and your body has kept every version of you inside its quiet archive. This is not a warning. It's a signature. Signed every night into the sheets you think no one notices. But someone does. Even if they don't say it. Even if they just breathe in and step back and carry something of you with them without knowing why. 2. What we smell isn't decay. It's memory. You catch it in the hallway, that faint trace, not quite floral, not quite sour, clinging to the folds of a cardigan you've worn all week. You think it's laundry, or maybe the house, or maybe something you forgot to wash. But then you press the fabric to your nose and pause. It's familiar, not unpleasant, just intimate. Like the way your child's blanket used to smell after a fever. Like the inside of your mother's purse, lipstick, receipts, and powdered gum. Like the collar of your partner's coat on the day you held them a little longer than usual because something in you knew it would be the last autumn like this. Scent is strange that way. It remembers faster than we do. It brings people back before your thoughts catch up, before grief can brace itself. In dementia care homes, nurses often find residents clutching old sweaters not from confusion, but from knowing. The scent of their past is still legible when names are not. The nose, it turns out, is the final archivist. What you smell in aging is not rot. It's residue of closeness, of repetition, of having been touched and worn and needed. It's the soul's way of staying close even as memory recedes. You may try to hide it, mask it, Febreze it into silence. But sometimes, what you're covering is not something wrong. It's something holy. You're not smelling decay. You're inhaling a life that's still speaking in the only language it has left. And it's saying, I remember. Do you? 3. A ledger written in scent. Long before the body forgets, the skin remembers. You may not recall the name of the neighbor who used to bring you guava jam, but your skin remembers how many summers you spent in the sun, sweating out salt and memory. You may forget what day it is, but your pores haven't forgotten the medication change, the drop in estrogen, the shift in hydration after grief dried your appetite. It's all there. Written quietly in the surface layer, you only glance at when passing a mirror. But the truth is, your scent is a ledger, not loud, not fragrant, but full of entries, each one detailing how you lived, what you endured, what you held in silence because there wasn't time to speak it out loud. Dermatologists can explain it. As we age, the lipid content of our skin shifts. Sebum oxidizes differently. The balance of good bacteria on the skin's surface begins to tip. And with it, a new scent emerges. Not offensive, just honest. It's a story told in molecules, not designed to impress, but to confirm, I was here. Even when you look in the mirror and feel unfamiliar, softer jawline, deeper folds, your scent anchors you. It says what no one else dares to, you've made it this far. You have been touched. You have been real. This isn't shameful. This is sacred biology. It is your biography written not in ink, but in presence. You don't need to erase it. You only need to understand that your body has always been a keeper of the quiet things you didn't know how to hold. 4. Dr. Voss and the olfactory elegy doctor, Ilara Voss, never rushed her patients. As a geriatric dermatologist, she learned early on that what people brought into her office was rarely just about the skin. One Thursday, a woman in her 70s arrived, eyes kind, blouse buttoned with care, but trembling at the wrists. She didn't speak for a while, just unwrapped a neatly folded blouse from a plastic bag, held it in her lap like a fragile photograph. Then she said, "It smells like him." Her husband had passed 9 months earlier, but she'd only just dared to open the bottom drawer of his wardrobe. The scent wasn't cologne. It wasn't anything you could buy. It was something else. Something the body leaves behind after years of presence. A trace of shared air, of old hugs, of meals cooked side by side without speaking. Dr. Voss didn't reach for jargon. She didn't explain aldehydes or microbiome shifts. She just nodded, then said quietly, "Sometimes our scent lingers longer than our name." Later, she would tell a colleague, "We keep mistaking these aromas for decay, but what if they're footprints? Tiny chemical signatures that map the places someone stood. In love, in silence, in loss." What this woman held in her blouse was not odor. It was grief, translated. A kind of olfactory elegy spoken not with words, but with molecules that knew the shape of memory. In her clinic, Dr. Voss began to listen more closely to the ways people described their skin. Not just dry or oily, but tired, lonely, faintly familiar. She knew then that part of her work wasn't just healing the surface, it was honoring what remained on it. 5. Ritual. The first sip of morning. She doesn't rise quickly anymore, not because she can't, but because the pause has become a kind of prayer. Each morning begins the same, tongue pressed to the roof of her mouth. A quiet scan of the dryness there. Not just thirst, but a message. She reaches slowly for the glass beside her bed. The water isn't cold. It's been waiting too, like her. This isn't hydration. It's a soft returning. A reconnection to something her body began to drift from when nights grew longer and breaths more shallow. She takes one sip, then waits. Not to swallow, but to feel. Because she's learned. What disappears in age is not just strength or sharpness, it's the noticing. The way water runs along the edges of her throat, the way her chest expands just slightly afterward, the way her skin, dry from dreams, seems to say, "Thank you for coming back." Scientists might say she's diluting 2-nonanol, flushing the night's oxidized oils, restoring the body's cellular communication. But that's not how it feels. It feels like she's rinsing grief, like she's waking up her own presence before the world asks anything of her. That single sip becomes a declaration, a reclaiming. She is not passive, she is not fading, she is still here. In her senses, in her rituals, in the water that remembers her even when mirrors forget. And just for a moment, as the second sip begins to rise, she is held. Not by anyone, not by anything, but by her own quiet noticing. And that, she's beginning to learn, is what healing sometimes looks like after 60. We try not to notice it. That faint shift in scent, on a collar, in a room we haven't entered all day, on a pillow we haven't changed in a week. We tell ourselves it's age, or the house, or the air. And maybe it is. But more than that, it's a memory. Not the kind that plays in your head, the kind that lingers in the air when no one's speaking. Because scent doesn't just come from the body, It comes from everything the body has carried. Loss, loyalty, the long patience of being needed more than seen. That subtle odor we try to mask, it's not a flaw. It's the story your body has written without ever picking up a pen. Each shift in scent is a footnote. Each day it deepens is a chapter. It's not evidence of decay. It's proof of presence. The scent we fear, the one we scrub, perfume, or bury in detergent, might just be the last way the body whispers, I am still here. And maybe, if we listened instead of covering, we'd realize we were never meant to erase it. We were meant to honor it. This is not about odor. It's about origin. And your origin is still unfolding every time your skin exhales what your soul has lived. You'll catch it again, in the fibers of a scarf you haven't worn in months, in the quiet breath of a sweater left folded too long, maybe even in the stillness after a warm bath, when your skin exhales and something familiar rises before your thoughts can name it. Next time, don't flinch. Don't rush to scrub it away. Pause, not to fix, but to feel. Because what you're noticing isn't a flaw. It's a presence, a soft continuation of everything your body has carried without applause. It is not too late to turn toward it, to meet it without shame, without resistance. Just curiosity and care. You are not decaying. You are deepening. This scent, this trace, isn't the end of something. It's the signature of a life still unfolding, a quiet reminder that even now, you're still here, still becoming. If a scent has ever caught you, not by surprise, but by memory, if it came from a shirt, a hallway, a hand you once held, and for a moment you were back in a story you didn't know was still living in you, you're not alone. Some fragrances aren't perfumes, they're people, they're time, they're love that lingered just long enough to be remembered. If one just came to mind, you can whisper it below. No need to explain, no pressure to share more than a moment. A flower, a spice, a season, a name. We'll breathe it in with you, quietly, together.